Welcome to lesson 8.1, Trigonometric Ratios. This lesson should actually go by pretty quickly because what a trigonometric ratio is, it's just the ratio of the sides in a triangle. Alright? I know that doesn't make any sense, but let's delve in a little bit. So there are three basic types of trig ratios: sine, cosine, and tangent. These ratios are just represent the ratios of the different sides of a right triangle. Alright? So what do I mean by that? So if you have an angle, and we use, once again, theta, you might remember, a missing angle is called theta. Theta, don't forget that. The sine ratio is just the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse of the triangle. Okay? The opposite side to the hypotenuse. And you might be saying, well, how do you know what the opposite side is? Well, if you start at the angle, and you just draw a line across, oh, my spaghetti's ready. If you just draw a line across, that's your opposite side. Alright? The cosine ratio is just the ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse. Alright? How do you know what the adjacent side is? Well, it's not the opposite side, so it's not just across from it. And it's not the hypotenuse. And remember, the hypotenuse is the side that's across from the 90-degree angle. And the tangent to theta, or the tangent ratio, is the opposite side to the adjacent side. And the way we remember this going to be real helpful for you, it's called SOHCAHTOA. You should probably say it out loud. SOHCAHTOA. And that helps us, that's how you remember these ratios. S stands for sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. See what we did there? C stands for cosine, and that's adjacent over hypotenuse, and T stands for tangent, which is opposite over adjacent. SOHCAHTOA. It's going to help you remember it, trust me. So this lesson is all about just being able to set up those ratios. Alright? And we're just going to go through that. We're going to set up all the sine ratio, the cosine ratio, and a tan ratio. Alright? I'm going to show you the steps. The first step, if it says sine of theta, cosine theta, tan theta, is you locate where theta is. And that's right here. Alright? Now we're going to figure out what our opposite side is, what our adjacent side is, and what our hypotenuse is. So I'm going to draw a line across, and that means this side right here is my opposite side. Alright? So we're going to label this with an O. Let's label it. This is O. The next one I'm going to do is the hypotenuse. And that's opposite the 90-degree angle, also the longest side. And opposite the 90-degree angle is right here. So this is going to be our hypotenuse. So 13 is our H. And remember, whatever's not the opposite in hypotenuse, that is going to be your adjacent. So that is our missing side, and that is our adjacent. So we'll call that A. So let's just set up the ratios. It's pretty straightforward now. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, so opposite over hypotenuse, and that means it's going to be equal to 5 O over H, 5 over 13. Okay? Our cosine ratio is adjacent over hypotenuse. Remember? AH. Alright? And that's going to be equal to, well, our adjacent is 12 over 13, right? Adjacent over hypotenuse, 12 over 13. That's where I got the numbers from. And then the tan of theta, well, that's just TOA, so O over A, and that's going to be 5 over 12. All right, 5 over 12. And those are your three ratios. So the sine of theta is 5 over 13, the cosine of theta is 12 over 13, and then the tan of theta is 5 over 12. And that's it. That's all you got to be able to do, set up those ratios. Alright, let's try this again. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. This one says find the sine, cosine, and tangent of angle B. So remember, the first thing you do is you find your angle, which is right here. Alright, and we're going to label our sides. So the opposite of this angle, angle B, is right here. So this is O. Now I know what you're saying. Wait, what? I thought over here we had to be the opposite. It has to be opposite the angle. So you start with the angle, which is right here. This is our theta, all right? And you go across. And whatever that across is, is your O. So the opposite is 6. All right. Our hypotenuse is opposite the 90-degree angle, which is right here. So our hypotenuse is right here. This is 10. And then finally, we have our adjacent. Remember, that's the one that's not there. That's right here. So our 8 is A. Remember, label everything first, or else it gets much harder. So make sure you label everything. And I don't know why I wrote O there. By the way, this is H. Why is it in green? Jeez, what is going on? All right. So opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. Now that you have those, you can find these. So the sine of B, the sine of angle B, remember, is going to be SOHCAHTOA. So SO is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 6, hypotenuse is 10. 6 over 10. Cosine of B, that's adjacent over hypotenuse. And so that's 8 over 10. And the tan of B is opposite over adjacent, so that's 6 over 8. All right, now since we're good math students, we know that we have to reduce everything, so let's reduce these. We're simplifying our fractions: 3/5, 4/5, and 3/4, and that is our answer. So the sine of B is 3/5, cosine of B is 4/5, and tan of B is 3/4. Now that we're 6 minutes and 25 seconds in, this is the shortest lesson ever, so that gives you plenty of time to hug your mom and tell her you love her.